Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
The Saratoga City Council meeting, an inside look at the decisions that affect you and our community.
Good evening. Welcome to November 20th, 2018 City Council meeting. We will begin with 2 public hearings. The first public hearing is the 2019 comprehensive budget, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Madigan. Could we get those doors? Matt Beach, could you shut the doors for me? Thank you.
Gosh, it's like a...
I think don't we want to leave it's an open meeting?
Well, no, not if I'm going to speak in the public hearing.
I mean, you can't. Can somebody tend the door? Can you tend the door? Thank you.
Those doors are locked.
All right.
So, Peter.
Okay. So this is the continuation of the second public hearing of the 2019 budget, which includes all funds and all departments, and will be left open until the council is ready to vote on the budget, which I hope will be next Wednesday. Is that the 29th? 8th? Thank you. The tax rates under the comprehensive budget so far are $6.0754 for a home located in the inside district and $6.0101 for a home located in the outside district. The average property tax increase in the comprehensive budget from the 2018 tax rate is less than 0.4% and due largely to expenses associated with increased capital borrowing. We have held 3 budget workshops to date, with a 4th scheduled for Monday, November 26th at 11 a.m. here at the City Center. The workshop will be to discuss capital budget and other budgetary items. Specifically, we'll have a review of the City Hall renovations as it pertains to our capital budget expenses. A special City Council meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday, November 28th at 7 p.m., at which time I am hoping the City Council will be ready to vote on the amended budget. So now it's the public's turn to time to respond to the 2019 comprehensive budget if there's anyone here who would like to do so. Thank you.
If you'd like to speak on the budget, please come up to the microphone. Okie doke. Then we're keeping that open, and then we're going to go on to our next public hearing, which is to amend Chapter 225 of the City Code, time limit parking, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks. So this is the final public hearing to amend Chapter 225 of the City Code, Vehicle and Traffic, with respect to time limit parking on parts of Maple Avenue. We are discussing amending Chapter 225 of the City Code to place a 2-hour parking limit between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. on the following portions of Maple Avenue. On the west side of Maple Avenue, starting 168 feet north of Lake Avenue and ending at Ellsworth Jones Place. On the east side of Maple Avenue, starting 298 feet north of Lake Avenue and ending at Ellsworth Jones Place. And also on the east side of Maple Avenue, starting 40 feet north of Ellsworth Jones Place and ending 1,306 feet north of Ellsworth Jones Place. So this is a public hearing, and we're ready for the public.
If anybody would like to speak on that, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address. Commissioner, will you be closing this?
I'll be closing. We'll be voting on this later tonight.
Okay, thank you. So if nobody's here to talk on that, we will be closing that and we'll be moving on. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Frank?
Present.
Commissioner Madigan?
Present.
Commissioner Saratoga?
Here.
Commissioner Martin?
Here.
Mayor Kelly?
Here.
Supervisor Beach? Here. Supervisor Gass? Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is our public comment period. I would ask that you try to keep your comments brief, 2 minutes maximum. We do have a bell that you'll hear. At 2 minutes, please respect the bell and your time is up. So the public comment period will be for how many people? Can I just ask for a raise of hands? How many people want to speak? Okay, so I'm going to say we're going to go for a half hour instead of 15 minutes. We should be able to get everybody in. It looks less than 20 people. By the way, you don't have to do your 2 minutes. Some people stay up there. If you only have a minute, that's okay. You could give somebody else some time. Please address the council as a whole and be respectful to others in the audience. If there are no please address and state your name and provide your address as you speak to the council. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Ryan McMahon. I'm the Executive Director of Saratoga Springs City Center at 522 Broadway. Here tonight to talk about the Flat Rock Working Group's proposed parking and multi-use space with park space and the Greenbelt Trail. First, I just want to say, as a member of the City Center, I'm happy to invite to participate in this project and this plan, and the City Center Authority supports it fully. The City Center does need parking, as we've talked about many times, but I wanted to give you some numbers that reflect that. This is from the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, we know of 13 events that we lost because of parking. That's 5,000 room nights, 9,800 attendees, and a potential economic impact of 2,266,000, sorry. We currently have 29 events that are in real jeopardy, that have looked for other space. The primary reason is parking. That's 19,000 room nights, 23,000 guests, and an economic impact of $15.8 million. These are real numbers that need to be addressed. Other local venues, being Albany, they're building a parking garage. Buffalo, Rochester have connected parking, and other states. Some of the events we've lost have gone to Newport, Minneapolis, Mystic, Connecticut, Lake Placid, and Providence. It's not just a local problem anymore. With the internet, with the free flow of information, event planners can search everywhere. There's a third category of this, and I talked to some event planners. They will tell you that the first and last impression an event attendee has is parking. They told me that there are events they do not even consider bringing to Saratoga Springs because it's known to have a parking problem. There's no way to quantify that, but these are professional planners who don't consider coming here.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Cindy Hollywood, long-term general manager of the Holiday Inn here in Saratoga Springs. I live at 144 Fifth Avenue, longtime city resident. But tonight I'm representing the Convention Bureau on Darryl Legeri's behalf. He is away on a vacation. I am the current chair of the organization and have served on that board for 35 years. Our organization, along with our hotel partners, are responsible for attracting group business to the city and helping to fill the city center and many hotel rooms. This accounts for nearly half of the business booked and the occupancy tax collected. Ryan has told you about the loss or potential loss of business as the result of the lack of parking. Nearly 15 years ago, we all participated in focus groups with the city center clients to hear their requests for more space and better parking. And 9 years ago, we opened the new space, but failed to supply the much needed parking. More importantly, our city has approved an additional 600 hotel rooms over the course of the last 10 years. We need more and bigger groups to fill that extra room inventory. and add to those 600 rooms the over 1,000 rooms that are listed daily on Airbnb and like entities that we, the city center, the city, and the Convention Bureau are losing not just occupancy tax on, but the city is also losing valuable sales tax on. The point being that the overdevelopment of hotels and the failure to regulate illegal B&Bs combined with the lack of parking for our big groups not only is costing the city and businesses economic vitality, but the intended development has turned the potential prosperity into a major negative economic impact. I often hear from downtown businesses who acknowledge the large conventions that come to our city. They see the name tags, etc., and tell us about the valuable convention clients are to the success of their businesses. On behalf of our organization and its 500 members, we encourage the council to approve the resolution and move forward with the parking structure. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Darlene McGraw. I live here in the city of Saratoga Springs. I want to first thank the entire city for giving me the proclamation that I got last Thursday. I want to speak about a couple things that others in the community have brought up. One, the parking signs on streets. There's many streets, I thought I was the only one that noticed this, but there's many streets that have no parking signs, that have no signs for the names of their streets. I would encourage people to, I would encourage city officials to go look around next time you see street signs, if you don't see it, to tell people so we can have them named. I love our country, love our city, but our city is not doing its responsibility, I believe, because in Congress Park we have a flag, U.S. flag, that's supposed to be lit up 24/7, and it is not lit up. And that is what I believe against the law, but we should do that because this is our country, and we need to love our country and our city. I do not agree with the city center and this new parking garage plan because others have stated, Rochester, for instance, they have, they want to move and do their events there in Rochester. They have more public transportation in Rochester. We're building new places, new buildings, whether it be stores or quote-unquote affordable housing, which I have no clue what that means. But I would like to make sure we have at least 2 parking spaces for each of those living spaces. And I want a number for affordable housing, workforce housing. I expect at the next city council meeting that we get a number, or at least you promise me a date that we have a number. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Art Holmberg, representing Sustainable Saratoga tonight. I live at 21 Summerfield Lane. First of all, I just want to be clear, Sustainable Saratoga supports additional parking for the city center. I would like to thank Mayor Kelly and all the city council for beginning a public planning process for the future of the publicly owned parking area known as Flat Rock Center. The informational meeting held just last week was well attended, which indicates the high level of interest by citizens of the city. Sustainable Saratoga members were encouraged by the comments that were heard from council members regarding continued public involvement in reducing the size, 754 spaces, of the parking structure. We were inspired by many members of the public, as well as Commissioner Madigan and others who expressed creative ideas for developing the parcel in exciting ways that would benefit residents, visitors, and the city center and the downtown business environment. We were therefore surprised to learn that so soon after the meeting, the City Council scheduled a vote on a resolution recommending that the City Center proceed with planning for a parking garage. It's important that all decisions concerning this multi-million-dollar piece of taxpayer-owned land be made in the interest of what is best for the long-term benefit of all the people of the city. We're glad that the mayor has appointed a committee to assist in the development of a vision for Flat Rock project. In addition, we believe strongly that the membership of the committee should be balanced by addition of more members from a broader community. Meetings of the committee should be open and subject to public review and comment. We also continue to strongly support managed parking in Sustainable Saratoga. In the past years, there's been over 15 studies by experts with a recommendation that there be more effective management of downtown parking. It's time to make that a reality. Sustainable Saratoga supports the parking garage.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Good evening. Thomas Olson, General Manager of the Hilton Saratoga at 34 Broadway.
Their mic on there, just
speak right into it.
Move up.
Thomas Olson, General Manager of the Hilton Saratoga. I'm here to support the parking. With, as Ryan said before, about our conventions would be able to assist our business for the Saratoga market. With that, as same as Cindy stated, that we have a lot of rooms in this market, but it would support the hotel and especially our Saratoga town with an additional parking for our area here.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, Todd Shimkus, 15 Concord Drive. I'm also the president of the Saratoga County Chamber of Commerce. And let me start by thanking the mayor and the council for your leadership in support of the city center and the downtown economy. When you all took office, a lot of money was being spent on lawsuits regarding this parcel. You brought all the parties together and reached a reasonable, practical, and doable solution, the Flat Rock Park Center. This should be celebrated. Figuring out what unites us is important. We all agree the city center is an engine for our downtown's economy. We all agree that one of the things that makes Saratoga's downtown so vibrant is the many local, independently owned stores and restaurants you can only find here. We also agree that Saratoga should be accessible. Everyone is welcome. This means we need to help get people downtown, whether they bike, walk, take a bus, or drive a car. It's about balance. The Flat Rock Park Center plan accommodates all of those people. When people come to the city center, as they did this weekend for Saratoga Comic Con, they had a lot of fun. We asked them, and maybe you saw the videos that we posted on Twitter. They had fun, except when they were trying to find parking. When people come to the downtown to patronize a local store or restaurant, they also have a lot of fun, except when they are trying to find parking. Just ask the downtown businesses. Finding parking is the #1 complaint they receive from their customers. Now, Amazon is getting billions to locate in New York State. The convenience they offer for people to shop from wherever, whenever, is hurting local retailers. For our local businesses to be convenient, we need more parking, and more trails, and more bike lanes, and more public transportation. We need it all if we want to welcome everyone to Saratoga. Your great work, bringing people together, created this plan. Now let's unite and make it happen.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for your time. My name's Charlie Samuels. I live in Saratoga Springs. I want to talk about the Flat Rock Center parking lot. The space being considered for the Flat Rock Center parking structure is on, by far, the hottest property in Saratoga Springs. To be fair, this proposal is a lot better than the last one. But the basic concept that our city needs more parking for economic growth is fundamentally flawed for many reasons. One, the city has done virtually nothing to lessen the need for parking to begin with. Solutions include paid parking on Broadway, traffic calming, and encouragement of alternative and mass transportation. Two, the parking structure will create the need for expensive security because of the dangers involved in many dark, secluded spaces involved with that, all those parking spaces. Also, third, walking is good for you and makes you walk by more businesses. There are plenty of parking spaces not utilized in this city, a 5-minute walk from Broadway. People park all day on Broadway and never get a ticket. Fourth, already parking is being reduced by the popularity of car sharing, Lyft and Uber. Soon we will have driverless cars. The parking garage will be ripped down within 10 to 12 years. This is basically a whack-a-mole situation. It will create more traffic, dirtier air, accidents, and more angry drivers. Most cities in this country are discouraging traffic, sometimes outright eliminating it. But Saratoga Springs is going backward, its normal pattern, with this proposal.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Roger Goldsmith, 10 Poe Road, Saratoga Springs. I'm also on the City Center Authority. As a member of the authority, I want to say I support this proposition. The additional parking for the city center is like 8 years overdue, and I congratulate you on coming together with something that not only helps solve the parking issues for the city center, but also creates a comprehensive plan to develop a piece of property that honestly has been nothing but an eyesore of a parking lot for years and years and years. So congratulations to you for getting to this point, and you have my support.
Thank you.
Hello, Dorothy Rogers Bullis. I live at 16 Sand Spring Drive, and I am here to support the parking garage. I'm a business owner locally in town. I often have clients come to see me or one of our businesses, and they make a very frustrated comment to me that they're late, they apologize. I make light of it, tell them it's worth the frustration to come to Saratoga. I'm here to support this. I hear this time and time again, over and over. My husband, my business partner, Dan, and I hear it constantly, how difficult it is to park here in Saratoga Springs. So for all of us that do have businesses here in town that rely on our customers to come to see us, I'm really hopeful that we can work this out. It's not going to be another tax pay issue for us. It's going to be paid with the bed tax. I think this is a challenge that a lot of people don't understand. So please, from a business owner, I am really encouraged by a lot of us coming out tonight, but I really would hope that everyone would see my plea. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Tom Newkirk, 553 Crescent Ave, Saratoga Springs. I come tonight to speak to you about the parking proposal as part of the Convention and Tourism Bureau, past chairman. I congratulate you on the proposal. Increasing the supply, I think, is absolutely needed in the town. But to have our city center competitive and as part of our destination economy here, having the additional parking is just so critical. In 2017, the Convention Bureau believes that 21% of all the room nights sold in the city of Saratoga hotels were the direct result of people attending events at the city center. That's 1 in 5 room nights. These guests shop at our local retail stores, they dine in our bars and restaurants, and they attend the other destination events inside the city. So having a competitive city center with decent parking is critical to our growth path, especially with the competition we're now getting from Lake Placid, Lake George, City of Albany, and the Schenectady Casino. We have to compete if we're going to be a destination economy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it fell off. Uh-oh. Sorry.
Do you want to get it? I just don't want somebody to step on it.
Sorry about this, guys.
Sorry.
It's okay. They're taking your 2 minutes, Terry. No, they're not. I'm only kidding.
Sorry for causing extra time here. My name is Terry Diggory. I reside at 173 Circular Street, and I'm here as one of the coordinators of the Saratoga Immigration Coalition. The coalition is concerned that the City Council response to the situation arising from the death of Darrell Mount in 2013 is so far not adequate. And in particular, we are concerned about the review body that Commissioner Martin has proposed. We sent a letter to Commissioner Martin and Chief Veach last week, and which Commissioner Martin has kindly acknowledged. And I just wanted to have the Saratoga Immigration Coalition be on record as advocating, instead of the kind of review body that Commissioner Martin has proposed, a civilian review board, and now I'm reading from the letter, whose members include persons knowledgeable about investigative procedures, such as lawyers and retired judges, as well as representatives from civic, religious, and cultural organizations that and such a board we think would constitute a knowledgeable body for reviewing police activities. The coalition believes that had such a board been available to oversee the Mount incident, its findings of fact and conclusions would have addressed most of the issues which remain unresolved at this point, issues which have become a source of community discontent and a vehicle for questioning the integrity of the Saratoga Springs Police Department. Again, I want to thank Commissioner Martin for reaching out to us. We look forward to further productive conversation on this topic, and I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Holiday Hammond. I live in Saratoga Springs. Do you need my address?
Yes, please.
23 Lefford Street. We just had a press conference, a group of many organizations, citizens, the clergy, about the situation regarding Darrell Mount's death and, again, the city's response. And what we see is the lack of response. Or adequate response. So I don't want to repeat, Terry touched on some of the things, but I wanted to let you know that we are circulating a petition which is really designed to engage the public and inform them and keep this dialogue alive rather than have it just go away. Because Darrell's death occurred in a greater context where young people, especially people of color, are dying and being killed, and we need to respond to that with great sensitivity and look at our policies and procedures which fail to adequately protect people from being injured and then fail to adequately respond when they are injured or killed. I will gladly give you a copy of the petition, but just know that we will be out there talking to people. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to give us a copy? Thank you.
Colin Klepitar, 58 Newton Ave. First of all, I'd like to thank the council for once again hosting the presentation last Monday. I also want to thank Sustainable Saratoga, the City Center, and the Downtown Business Association for basically informing the public and being respectful and cordial in regards to the Flat Rock parcel and how they've shared information. I'm a lifelong resident of the city. I've seen it grow. I was at this place when it opened, the grand opening of the City Center. I had my prom here. I remember the fact-finding forum that the Chamber hosted in regards to casino gaming. We used to have the ARC special ARC dance here with my youth group. This is a special place for me. The previous head of the City Center and Mr. McMahon have done a fantastic job bringing people to our downtown. I understand that they have a parking issue, and I think everyone in this room would agree that we want to help them as they are a huge economic engine for our city. I think how we get there, we have differing opinions. last week. I appreciated Commissioner Frank saying he believed that we should have workshops where the community comes together and we come up with a plan that fits all of our needs. I went to the 2 forums about 3 years ago that the Sustainable Saratoga hosted. I know that many of you were there when they talked about the parking needs. And experts from nationally ranked or nationally known experts came and they said Saratoga Springs does not necessarily have a supply problem. We have a management problem. So before we spend so much money, and there's a lot of money, I really encourage us to study this a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Everybody gets their time. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Nikki Miller. I live at 5 Van Rensselaer on the west side. I am here for the Downtown Business Association, just to say that we are in favor of the Flat Rock parking, and the city center does bring a lot of economic potential to this town, and we definitely need the parking to support it.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. My name's Sam Brewer. I live on Lake Avenue. I've previously spoken to you. Tonight I wanted to talk to you a little bit about compensating for the weaknesses of friends. I was at the Saratoga Springs School District Board meeting last week and heard about an hour of public comment regarding the security situation and the disarming of the grounds monitors. And my feeling is that discussion is going to continue for some time, and during that time, those schools are, for the most part, unprotected. So I think it would behoove the city to use its police resources to compensate for the board during their time of transition while they come up with a more permanent response. There are some 6,000 children in those schools, which presents just a massive population density in a city of 30,000 people. So justification for the use of police resources to be positioned closely to those schools while they figure this out, it's easy to justify. That's all I have to say this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
If anybody else wants to come up, we have time for probably about 3 more people.
Good evening. I'm Heidi West. I own 2 businesses in downtown Saratoga Springs. I live at 185th Avenue and I have property in Franklin Square. I am going to keep it short and sweet because we're 3 days away from the busiest shopping day of the year, Black Friday, and I need to go back to work, but I'm going to tell you right now that as a business, we need this project. We need this, whatever they're calling it, Flat Rock Park Center, whatever, how many names it's had, I don't know. But we can't survive without it. I don't know if you're aware of the current retail environment, but it's precarious at best. And what we need is local support. That looks like dining downtown, shopping downtown, being downtown, but it also looks like the city council making decisions that really help us so that we can compete. I know that people here often say that we don't have a parking problem. I welcome them to my store any day of the week. You can spend the day there with me and you can listen to my clients. A lot of them would love to be able to walk further than they can. A lot of them have wheelchairs. A lot of them are 70, 80, 90 years old. They do need close parking. We all know that the city, I won't go into details, we all know that the city center is an important part of what happens downtown. And if they can't compete, we can't compete. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Dan Bullis, 16 Sand Spring Drive. I own several businesses in downtown Saratoga, and it's kind of shocking to me that there's certain people that don't believe that there should be more parking in downtown Saratoga. There's such a problem, it's unbelievable. And I mean, you just have to spend a little time in downtown driving around trying to find a spot to realize it. So I'm totally in favor of what you're all doing. I'm really encouraged to see that you're trying to get this done. And I appreciate it, and I hope you go forward with it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jane Mai, 44 White Street. I am not a business owner, but I have lived in town, BCC, before the city center. And I understand what incredible impact the city center has had on this city. Our downtown is fragile. The needs of the city center need to be taken very seriously and addressed. And I have friends from the Capital District who will not meet me for lunch in Saratoga anymore because they're so frustrated with trying to find a place to park. So I congratulate you on the working group you put together. I think this is a really interesting plan. I really like the green space that you've incorporated, which leaves us open to the future needs of Saratoga, leaves that parcel that way. I hope that you'll find space for the farmers market in this plan. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Ambrosino. I live at 1 North Circular Street in Saratoga. I'm a longtime business owner and have worked no place else in my adult life other than downtown Saratoga Springs. I've seen the changes and I love the plan that's going forward. I wholeheartedly want to offer my support for the city center. I also think that it's extremely important to be environmentally correct, but it's also good to be fiscally correct as we leave a legacy for those to come behind us. They have to work in conjunction, and I thank the city center. I thank the rest of the people who've all come here this evening to help us move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? One last bid. Okay, this will be the last comment. Go ahead, sir.
John Kaufman, 44 White Street. I just wanted to follow up. Basically, this town used to close in the winter. And anybody who has been here for a while could see that the base for the downtown really was problematic. And now, you know, in the middle of the winter, you see all these people walking with tags on them. Now, I know that everybody has agreed that there's a need for parking, but there's also been this whole discussion about public input, and I have great sympathy for the need for public input, but I also have enormous respect for the mayor in terms of the fact that this has gone on for a whole number of years, and this creates a real potential jeopardy. We have all these other convention centers that are all opening up. And there's a real tension, and I think the mayor is in a difficult position in terms of trying to address both the needs to get as much input as possible, but on the other hand, the critical need to address the needs of downtown. And I think it's a good plan, and I congratulate the mayor on putting together the committee and doing this, and I hope you'll vote in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I did see one person stand up over here, ma'am. Do you want to say, you'll be my last? I promise. Everybody will be my last.
Hello, my name's Sergeya Coffey. I live on the edge of Saratoga Springs School District, and I'm here to talk about the issue with Darrow Mount, which is a stain on the reputation of Saratoga Springs. We all know that the report that was, we were told happened, never happened by the police, the head of the police department. So I'm saying we need to do what other police departments and towns are doing. We need a civilian review board. We need sensitivity training for police. We're in a time when there are people from the very top of our government who are trying to divide us. We need to work together as a community, inclusive of every single person, no matter what their race or ethnic or color is. We need recording of every single negative behavior that occurs with the police, no matter how small, to see if there are patterns. We know that most of the police are good people, We know that most of the police join to serve, but we also know that people sometimes have prejudices which they're not even aware of. And if they're in power, if they're in a position of power like a policeman is, even though they're there to protect us, they need to protect every single person. The shame of Darrell Mound's death is a shame for all of Saratoga Springs, and you really need to address it in a much more robust way.
Thank you. Okay, please, no clapping, please. This is not an arena. At this time, we will be closing the public comment period, and before we do that, I'd like to ask the council if they'd like to say anything.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes, I'm just having a little technical difficulty here.
That's okay.
Okay, we're good.
Take your time.
I think we're good. I think they can hear me, hopefully from here. Okay. I'd like to thank all who came out to speak tonight, and I have heard from a number of you concerning the issues about a Citizens Review Board and the issues concerning Darrell Mount. I'm not going to make any arguments or provide any new information concerning Darrell Mount. This issue has been in litigation now for approximately 4 years. It's not our policy to try a case in the press. The plaintiffs may try to impact public sentiment and therefore the jury pool through the release of partial and misleading information, but I am not going to be drawn into that practice. I will say that based on a thorough review of the facts and the information provided to me by the city's attorney in this case, I'm confident that the legal process will show that there's no wrongdoing on the part of our city police department in the tragic accident that led to the death of Mr. Mount. Now, a number of citizens, some here tonight and otherwise, have asked that we institute a Citizens Review Board with investigative and oversight authority. I've spoken with several of these proponents, and I've read extensively about the formation, the structure, the impact, and the criticisms of these types of boards. Many large cities in the United States do have boards that examine citizens' complaints about police activity. Almost uniformly, these boards have been severely criticized as ineffective. If you want an education on the shortcomings of these boards, you can find volumes of materials reviewing the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board, CCRB, which has been significantly amended and restructured twice since it was originally formed and still faces complaints on how ineffective it is in dealing with its citizens' complaints. I've adopted a two-prong approach for citizens' complaints about our police in this city. The first prong comes directly from our charter, and it's consistent with that charter. It's Title VI, Section 6.1 of our charter, which says, "It shall be the duty of the Commissioner of Public Safety to ensure that the police department preserves peace and good order, enforces the laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations of the city of New York State and of the United States, and performs other duties that the council shall prescribe." The Commissioner of Public Safety is a citizen. He's elected by the residents of our city, and he must take responsibility for the review of actions of our police. As Commissioner of Public Safety, I will review all instances of police activities, including those involving use of force, that result in injury or death. Let me be clear. If anyone is injured by the actions of our police force, I want to hear about it. I've informed our police chief that I must be made aware of all such incidents so that I can oversee a thorough review and take all appropriate actions. The voting citizens of Saratoga Springs should hold the Public Safety Commissioner responsible for performing the duties as stated in the charter and assumed in the office. It's a lot easier for a bureaucratic board to deflect and avoid responsibility for outcomes than it is for an individual who's charged with that responsibility. The second prong is the institution and operation of a Citizens Advisory Board. Neither I nor any member of the Public Safety Department can know all of the experiences and perceptions of the many groups of people that make up our Saratoga Springs community. That's why I've formed a Citizens Advisory Board made up of representatives of diverse segments of our population, which will hold its first meeting later this month. This group will provide information, analyze current practice and policies, and recommend actions that we can take to ensure that our police department is serving every segment of our society. We will take action to guarantee that there's no bias, racial, sexual, religious, or otherwise. None will be tolerated within our force. We will make sure that all victims of crime in our city, including victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, are comfortable with coming to our police and are confident that they will be treated fairly and respectfully. The Citizens Advisory Board will examine the types of sensitivity training that are available and provide advice about the implementation of this training to our police department. With this two-pronged approach, we will provide fair, unbiased, and accountable oversight for our police department that is responsible and responsive to all of our citizens. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then we will close that public comment period and we'll move on our agenda. We do not have a presentation tonight, so we next on our agenda would be executive session. We did have an executive session which was held at the end of yesterday morning's pre-agenda meeting for pending litigation regarding Jackson et al. Versus the City of Saratoga Springs et al. No action was taken. Are there any comments or edits to the consent agenda as published? Then let's see, what am I missing? I move that the council accept the consent agenda as published. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes. On to the mayor's department. My first item is an announcement, upcoming board appointments. There are numerous board and committee positions that will expire in the near future and will be available for appointments by the mayor's departments. These include the Arts Commission, the City Center Authority, Community Development Citizen Advisory Committee, Complete Streets Advisory Committee, Design Review Commission, Ethics Board, Planning Board, Saratoga Springs Housing Authority, and Zoning Board of Appeals. These are listed on the city website currently under the latest information, boards and commission appointments available. There is an online application, and I do encourage anyone who is interested to apply. My second item is an announcement, recreation programs and leagues. Saratoga Springs Recreation Department is registering for the winter programs through December 27, 2018. Winter programs include youth boxing, volleyball, tiny b-ball, and introduction to skating. Registration hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Recreation Center, 15 Vanderbilt Avenue in Saratoga Springs. The center is closed on weekends. The ice rink will be having open and public family skate. For more information, please visit our website, saratogarec.com. Our next item is discussion and vote, accept the donation from Friends of Recreation. The Recreation Department is requesting acceptance of a donation of first item is field hockey items valued at $180, and the second item is installation of a Northside Rex shade structure valued at $1,800. And I believe Joe Ogden is here to inform us a little bit more about that project from Friends of Recreation.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Joseph Ogden here on behalf of the Saratoga Springs Friends of Recreation. I'll try to keep it very quick. Friends of Rec is a nonprofit organization, kind of somewhat recently formed. Our core mission is to provide additional opportunities and additional resources for youth programming, recreational opportunities for people in our city. These are just two of the examples that we hope to work with the city on in terms of the field hockey stuff and in terms of the shades that are on the north side rec. We've got, we have monthly meetings, we've got several projects under review, and we have recently had another successful golf tournament in October. We've got some more fundraising opportunities lined up. So thank you for your cooperation in this. We look forward to working with you again. And if anyone has any questions or needs anything, please feel free to reach out to myself or any member of our board. And again, I think we'll be back in the spring, if not sooner, with some more things. And thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing for the Recreation Department. They really appreciate all the work that Friends of Rec is doing, and you have, it's come back to life. I mean, this was a dormant organization, and it's now up and vibrant and raising a lot of funds for the children and adults in our community, so I thank you.
Thanks so much, Mayor.
I move that the City Council accept donations from the Friends of Recreation as described this evening. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes. Fourth item is discussion and vote waive fees for ice time for police versus fire department charity game. The police and fire departments are having their annual charity hockey game on December 1st at 7:30 at the Saratoga Springs Ice Rink, 30 Weibel Avenue. Admission to the game is free, but the teams are asking all in attendance to bring an unwrapped toy to be donated to the Franklin Community Center. The request is to waive the ice rink fees for this event. I move that the City Council approve the waiver of fees for ice time for the police versus fire department charity game as described this evening. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes. My fifth item is discussion and vote waive fees for public skating for Weibel Ice Rink 25th anniversary event. The Recreation Department is requesting waive of fees for upcoming Weibel Avenue Ice Rink 25th anniversary event. This would allow the public to skate free of charge during the 2-hour event. I move that the City Council approve the waiver of the fees for the public skating for Weibel Ice Rink 25th anniversary event as described this evening. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes. My sixth item is discussion and vote resolution Flat Rock Center Plan. This is a resolution stating the council's support for the next steps in planning process for Flat Rock Center, including substantial public involvement as well as the city center's commitment to bring forth designs for review. I am going to read a 2-page resolution into the record and then we'll make a motion. This is Flat Rock Center Concept Plan. Whereas by deed dated June 25th, 1986, the Saratoga Springs Urban Renewal Agency conveyed a 2.6-acre parcel of land to the city of Saratoga Springs, with such land bound by Lake Avenue, High Rock Avenue, York Street, and Maple Avenue. And whereas, since its acquisition by the city, the parcel has only included a paved parking surface. And whereas in May 2018, the committee was convened and included a construction expert, a neighboring property owners, representatives from the Greenbelt Trail, the Complete Streets Committee, the downtown business community, the Administrator of Planning and Economic Development, a county supervisor, and the Commissioner of Finance and the mayor. And whereas the committee was charged with developing a concept plan for the entire 2.6-acre parcel that incorporates the guiding principles of the city's comprehensive plan as adopted by the City Council on June 16th, 2015. And whereas the committee has since established a concept plan for the 2.6-acre parcel, which consists of 4 components, including 1, the establishment of public park, Flat Rock Park, at the southerly end of the parcel along Lake Avenue, where Flat Rock Spring once existed. The continuation, and number 2 is a continuation of the park at the easterly side of the parcel along High Rock, which will connect Flat Rock Park to High Rock Park and include the Greenbelt Trail downtown connector. Number 3 is the development of the municipal parking structure, and number 4, the retention of out parcels for future development. And whereas the concept plan was presented to the public at the City Council meeting on July 17th, 2018, together with the city's application for a CFA grant funding for the development of Flat Rock Center, and again at a special City Council meeting on November 13th, 2018. And whereas the public input indicated a number of ideas, including needs to consider a possible reduction in size of the municipal parking structure, as well as a possible increase and reconfiguration of a public park, green space, and out parcels. And whereas the costs associated with the 4 components of the concept plan may require that development and implementation occur in 1 or more phases, with parking and Greenbelt Trail downtown connector identified as a priority and included in Phase 1. The public park, green space, and out parcels will be included in Phase 2. And whereas the city intends to work collaboratively with the Saratoga Springs City Center Authority and in accordance with the provisions of the city's comprehensive plan to ensure adequate parking to enable the city center to continue to attract conventions and other events to our downtown. And whereas the City Council envisions the collaborative effort to include the city center providing the costs associated with the design and the construction fee of the municipal parking structure, subject to the council review and approval. And now, therefore, be it resolved that, subject to compliance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the City Council intends to proceed with Phase 1, including the design and development of the Greenbelt Trail downtown connector and the municipal parking structure. Be it therefore resolved that the City Council recommends that the Saratoga Springs City Center Authority proceed with initial design proposals for the municipal parking structure, with such proposals to incorporate a reduction in the number of total parking spaces as originally proposed in the concept plan, and to present such proposals to the City Council and to the public for consideration and review. Be it further resolved that the City Council, in conjunction with the previously established committee, shall further review the components to be included in Phase 2, with the effort to increase and reconfigure the public park, green space, and out parcels. And be it resolved that upon receipt of the design parcels from the city center and further recommendations from the committee, the City Council will schedule a special meeting to present proposals to the public for input and consideration. With that, let me go back here. Let's see. With that, I move that the City Council approve the resolution Flat Rock Center concept plan as included with this agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I wanted to say that there seems to be some misinformation going around about exactly what this resolution is. And this is a resolution that allows the city center to move forward on their design for parking that has been envisioned for the city center. We've been down this path before, and whatever the city center comes back with is still subject to council review and approval. And as is outlined throughout this resolution, we will be seeking public input as well. So since this is subject to council review and approval, and also having been a member of the Flat Rock Committee, I do want to point out that while we were meeting with the Flat Rock Committee, we did discuss public space on our rooftops. So meaning whatever kind of rooftop access we were going to have, there was a lot of discussion about, and I brought this up at the meeting that we had last week, the special council meeting. I would like to be able to see when this proposal comes back, maybe something that we are envisioning for the rooftop, something like the High Line that we see in New York City. There were a lot of things envisioned by the Flat Rock working group that did include, again, something rooftop access, green space, commercial space and/or public space, Greenbelt Trail, an extension of the farmers market, or just a market, generally speaking. So that's what I'll be looking for as the city center goes out and does its work and comes back and reviews and presents to the council and the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Hold it.
Okay, I thought you were passing the buck. Sorry.
I don't have a microphone, but I got something to say.
I saw you go to him.
I had to steal the mic. Again, I think the resolution says a lot. It certainly, one of the reasons why I'm going to support it is because, it opens up the cooperation with the public. It allows the residents and people and the business people and people that are going to be impacted by this, this park and deck some input. I think that's important. I think that was one of the things that was said time and time again. There's no public input, no public input. Well, this resolution has plenty, said about that. And again, this is a project that's been on the table a number of times, and it just keeps, for whatever reason, just keeps getting pushed aside. I don't think we can do that anymore because, again, if you look around us, and somebody said it, I don't know if Roger, whoever said it, but the competition is getting pretty stiff out there. And I think if we can't keep the city center in business, then that means that for the most part, the businesses on Broadway are going to go, belly up. And once you start seeing empty storefronts on Broadway, because people, and I believe people have no place to park when they come into the city, you're going to have a tax base that nobody's going to be able to afford in the city, because a lot of the revenues that come into the city is attributed to tourism, because we are a city of tourism, and you got to keep that in the back of your mind when you're looking at projects like this. I think the parking deck being phase one is a good issue. The fact that it's been downsized, it's not the 700 and some odd cars that it was, makes a lot of sense to me. And one of the other things, I guess, when they're building it, there's room to look at building the floors so they're not at an incline, so they're flat, so that you can use the parking deck for other reasons in the event that you don't need all the floors in the parking deck. That's something that you can look into. So it's a parking deck, but it's going to support the Greenbelt Trail. I mean, those people want that. Without the parking deck, without the revenues, without all that, there's no Greenbelt Trail. There's nothing. There's no bike trails. There's no nothing in the city. Again, people that come into the city, the tourists, they look for a place to park. By looking for a place to park, you create a traffic problem. You constantly have people driving around, and that's what all the traffic studies, said, at least the ones that I've read. People are looking for a parking space, and they continue to drive around, no place to park. Creates a traffic problem. That's another problem that we have. Not a bad problem, but it's a problem. The parking deck would solve that problem. So again, the fact that the resolution does state that there be public input, it's downsized, and I personally think that the city needs it. I grew up here. I remember when Broadway was a ghost town. And it's changed unbelievably. It's changed for the good, in my opinion, and we want to keep it that way. I think because of, if we do have, additional parking, that's only going to help. It's not going to hurt anything. The other part of it is that, to the mayor's credit, I mean, she got the people who created the issue initially, got them people on board, which is another important piece of this, this issue. So, again, with public input and city council input, business people being a part of this, it's a win-win for the city. Believe me, there's no doubt in my mind it's a win-win for the city. It's in the back of the parking lot. We're leaving the rest of it for the second phase. That could be anything down the road. We don't really know where we're going to be. That's the other thing, is people saying, let's wait, let's wait, let's wait. Wait for what? What are we waiting for? Wait to build nothing? So the opportunity goes away? That's not a good plan. It's not a good plan for the future. I don't know if cars are going to become electric someday, or not electric, if they're going to be unmanned and that kind of thing.
They still have to park.
Yeah, right. That's right. You still have got a place to put them. So that's a good point, Mayor. Thank you. Anyways, I won't ramble on anymore. But that's I'm going to support it for those reasons.
Okay, I'd like to say one word. So Commissioner Battigat and myself have been working diligently with the New York Racing Association and with Saratoga Performing Arts Center. The NYRA brings in over 1 million visitors, and the Saratoga Performing Arts is over 500,000. And we have been in several meetings trying to generate ideas of how to bring more people downtown. So if we're bringing get even just a minute piece of that coming downtown, that's going to be incredible for businesses down here, but there's no parking. So I really feel that, and I know that, we have been, since January, the two of us have been meeting with these two groups, and we're going to do cross, advertising at each place about our downtown. So this is a unique, situation that we're in. We're going to be bringing a lot more people down here that have never been here, but have been to those two venues, but they never have been downtown. So that's a whole nother group that we're not talking about here that is going to be coming down and using our parking spaces along with the convention center. So I'm all in for the parking garage. So I'll let you speak now, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think to the mayor's point, everybody's, after Skippy spoke, he pretty much took anything I could ever think of, but we'll throw a couple things out there. The city is like a three-legged stool. From the standpoint is you have, and the mayor mentioned the first two legs of it, the track and SPAC, and then I think, I've been here since 1971. I remember when the old hotel was here and the emergency garage was up there for the ambulances, and it was just like a mud pit out here. And so this, the city center, I think it was more than coincidental that once the city center and the hotel were built, that the city exploded as it did. And if you do look at the hotel, the back end of the hotel is to Broadway, and it was for a reason, because nobody wanted to be on Broadway. Now that would never happen nowadays. Everybody would love to face Broadway, but the rear end of the hotel, when you go out, the entrance is looking east. I think this is a much better plan than the one that was brought forth 3 or 4 years ago, or how many years ago it was. And I think with the meetings with the Muzan House, I think they're in agreement, obviously, Mayor, from your discussions with them. I got to be honest, I think my concern is the concern of some of the people that have come up here. And all you have to do is look down the road at the Wilton Mall. I was coming back on Weibel with my son Matthew, and he goes, "I thought Bonton went out of business, Dad." And I go, "Yeah, they did." And he goes, "Well, why is that guy holding a sign?" And I said, "No, honey, that says Sears is going out of business now." So I learned a couple of things. My 6-year-old has great observation skills, but he does not read well. So we're working on the reading part. But the third thing, poor planning does have potential consequences. And that's why at the last meeting, I brought up the part with a number of people who were bringing questions up of maybe having Mike Ingersoll maybe even come. It was kind of too late, and I probably should have said something earlier, because I think almost every concern that I heard, I think Mike could have answered those concerns. And at the meeting, I think it was in July when we originally had that same type of plan, he was very clear at that meeting, not as clear at this workshop. What Skip had brought up is, with the levels being flat, that this property could be reconstituted into a building.
That's part of the plan.
And I think that was a big difference. And I don't know if that was really picked up that well at the he may have even said it again, but I may have missed it also. So that, and this resolution is different than the resolution that I think we were looking at a couple of weeks ago. I think this is a much better, and I would have supported the other resolution too, for the record, but this resolution's much better for the reasons that Skip went over, because it is going to, I was in the parking garage business years ago, but they definitely need parking. And being that this is phased, it would give them the ability to move first to get this. But we as a city council and this board that's working on this should not stop the planning for the rest going forward, on that. So I do think in 15 years, a lot of these parking garages are not going to be of use. I think things are transcendent right now. I think by the year 2030, 2032, what we are seeing with technology, it's going to happen in an exponential form that we're not familiar with, and I really do think there's going to be a big difference. But I don't think that's happening, like Peter Martin said at the last meeting, in the next 5 to 10 years. So I'm going to support this, and I'm going to support working with my son reading better.
Thank you. I would like to state that it is in the plans to make these flat. I think that's important to let everybody know. So if, in 10, 15, 30, 40 years, we don't need this as a parking garage, it can be converted. That's a big piece of what we're talking about.
And before my days here on some projects, I went in front of the land use boards and design and review, and you go into the planning board, and and we were looking at a parking garage, and it was going to be an electronic parking garage, and they just continually pounded on us saying, what's going to happen 10 or 20 years down the road if the technology isn't any good or we don't need parking anymore? Can you convert this into a building?
Right.
And we had to show them, which we could have, and we had to show them plans of how we were going to convert that use and reconstitute it to something different. The previous, even with the previous projects, this will be now the fourth time since I've been here, they did not have that. So this, though they were all good, all three of them before this, I think that's what really made a difference for me on this one here, because the ability to convert it to whatever in the future.
Great. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes. Thank you. On to my next item, discussion and vote authorization for the mayor to sign memorandum of agreement, fire administrative officers. I'm asking the council to approve a memorandum of agreement between the city and the fire administrative officers unit that changes its current agreement to include the new title, battalion chief. In addition, it sets the terms for this title in the event that the position is funded in future budgets. The MOA provides a 2019 to 2022 salary schedule for a battalion chief beginning at $109,140 and states certain vacation terms. It is important to note that the MOA clearly states the city is under no obligation to fund this position. In the event that it is not funded, the position will not be included in the fire administration unit. This item was on the agenda last meeting. It was tabled. The finance department had some budgetary concerns, which I believe have been resolved, and we are now ready to vote on this. I move that the city council authorize the mayor to sign memorandum of agreement, fire administrative officers as included with the agenda. This is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I had a few things I wanted to say.
Sure.
Thank you for tabling this, bringing it back this week. I did have the chance to meet with Fire Chief Williams last week to better understand sort of all the rationale that went in behind the details of the memorandum. And I was able to express my concerns with him and the process so far to date. I do support the creation of the battalion chief position, and my hope is that everyone involved has a better understanding of what goes into the creation and actually the funding of a new position going forward. I do appreciate some of the changes that were made to this memorandum. Actually taking out the year 2018 was helpful for me. And it's already been stressed, but that to the city council, that there is that caveat number 3 that ensures that the city isn't obligated to fund the position. But that's particularly important as we haven't yet passed the 2019 adopted budget yet. And that's it. Those are my comments.
Great. Anybody else?
Thank you. And I would like to thank the mayor for bringing this resolution. I'd like to thank Commissioner Madigan for take us through the process of creating a new position, funding a new position, and for listening to the chief, who I think explained the significant benefits that this new position will bring to the city as a whole. So I most certainly am going to support this motion. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
On to accounts.
I just have two items this evening. The first is an award of bid for the carousel restoration to WRF Designs LLC. Upon the recommendation of the Department of Public Works, I move to award the bid for carousel restoration to WRF Designs LLC in an amount not to exceed $18,000. Funding is in line A3537214/54720. Is a motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you, Mayor. The second item is appointment for Commissioner of Deeds for Amber McDonald and Teresa Williams. I am appointing Amber McDonald and Teresa Wilson of the Accounts Department as Commissioner of Deeds. That concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda is an announcement about the 2019 budget. It's an update. As I mentioned earlier when we were doing the public hearing, a fourth budget workshop is scheduled for Monday, November 26th at 11 a.m. here at the City Center, and this workshop will be to discuss the capital budget, specifically the renovation of City Hall, post-lightning strike, as well as any other budgetary items of note. A special City Council meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday, November 28th at 7 p.m. Here at the City Center, at which time the City Council, I am planning to bring the budget for a vote. I do appreciate the City Council's flexibility and responsiveness with the planning of the final workshops and the special City Council meeting. We really are coming down to the wire because according to the charter, the budget has to be passed by November 30th. But there was a lot of details that we were still waiting on as it pertains to City Hall renovations. Thank you. Item number 2 is a discussion and vote 2017 fund balance water and sewer recommendations. Under the fund balance policy, I am required to report annually to the council whether the audited balance available in the unrestricted unassigned fund balance of the city's water and sewer funds for the most recently audited fiscal year are within 10 to 25% of the adopted expenditure budget for the ensuing fiscal year. Today I'm reporting that the city's 2017 audited unrestricted water and sewer fund balances represented 34.2% and 39.8% of the 2018 adopted budgets, respectively. The amount of fund balance exceeding 25% was $353,692 for the water fund and $741,663 for the sewer fund. I'm recommending the current unassigned fund balance be used to fund projects previously requested in the 2019 capital budget and to fund a much-needed assignment to handle increased costs mandated by the county. By funding these projects through excess fund balance, the water and sewer funds will be able to decrease their 2019 capital budget requests, which means city taxpayers will pay less, or I would say city water users will pay less for debt service. Should all the recommendations be accepted, fund balance for both the water and sewer fund would decrease to 25%, leaving both funds well positioned for 2019. A summarization of my recommendations are as follows. Number 1, fund Excelsior Ave water treatment plant repairs from the water fund excess fund balance in the amount of $353,692. This project includes improvements to the filter room, installation of a new window or new windows, roof improvements at the pump house, and restoration of exterior woodwork. Number 2, sanitary pump station upgrades from the sewer fund, excess fund balance in the amount of $450,000. This project is in conjunction with the city's sanitary wastewater pump station upgrade project. 2019 upgrades will be performed at Quad 1, Quad 2, and Adams Road pump stations. In addition, this money will allow for the purchase of emergency generators, as well as new pumps and controls at other locations. Number 3, fund assignment for mid-year county rate increase from the sewer fund, excess fund balance in the amount of $291,663. In recent years, the county has mandated material rate increases that impact the sewer budget outside of the city's normal budgetary process. These mid-year increases are impossible to plan for and can put a significant strain on the resources within the sewer budget. To address this issue, I recommend the creation of a mid-year county rate increase assignment, which would be available to the sewer budget to handle increases required by the county that go beyond the adopted budget. For reference, the increase mandated by the county in 2018 totaled $156,000. By assigning $291,663 this year, we hope to cover at least 2 years' worth of county increases, which will give the Department of Public Works time to bring forward sewer-related projects to increase system efficiency and management that will help mitigate the impact of future county increases. I move to request council approval of the aforementioned reserve and assignment recommendations. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. Item number 3, discussion and vote, 2018 Finance Policies and Procedures Update. Finance Office has undertaken its annual review of all the finance policies as well as the Finance Policy and Procedure Manual. I included with the agenda a summary of the changes as well as the policies and procedures that require an annual review by the City Council. Finance policies that require annual review are the investment policy, the debt policy, fund balance policies, and the Affordable Care Act. Dates were revised in the investment policy. The capitalization policy was removed since that language was previously incorporated in the fixed asset policy, which actually sits in the accounts department. From the Finance Policy and Procedure Manual, all internal control policies require annual review and were included with the agenda changes, and this is what they include. The use of laser fiche for record retention, as well as some minor process updates. The payroll, preparation, and distribution and timesheets policies were updated to include the use of our time and attendance system. Minor text changes were made for clarification to reporting and depositing money, certification of sufficient funds, budget amendments, budget transfers, journal entries, accounts receivable and allowance for doubtful accounts, and year-end processing. Utility bill penalties was also updated for clarification. I request your approval of the 2018 Finance Policies and Procedures Update as previously submitted with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. Item number 4, discussion and vote, budget amendment, use of fund balance for the City Center. Lines 1 through 2 are to use City Center restricted fund balance for professional services related to construction as approved by the Authority Board. The restricted fund balance prior to the approval of this amendment is $11,727,754. After approval, it'll be $11,702,754. I request your approval of the budget amendment, use of fund balance, City Center, as previously distributed with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. Item number 5, discussion and vote, budget transfer contingency. Lines 1 through 2 are to transfer funds from contingency to a charter printing line to cover costs for the production of Election Day charter material. The balance in contingency prior to the transfer is $64,464, and following approval will be $63,035. I request your approval of the budget transfer contingency as previously distributed with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. Item number 6 is a discussion and vote, budget transfers, payroll, and benefits. And honestly, there are a lot here, and there's nothing, too specific that I need to call out to anybody. I'd like to waive the reading of them.
I'm okay.
Is that okay with
Yeah.
council? All right, great. I request your approval of the budget transfers, payroll, and benefits as previously distributed with the agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. That completes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda is discussion and vote, authorization for the mayor to sign a license agreement with National Grid for the Spring Run Trail parking lot. The original license agreement between the City of Saratoga Springs and National Grid is for land space owned by National Grid adjacent to Spring Run Trail on Excelsior Avenue, will expire at the end of this month. This license agreement, effective on this date, will be a 5-year agreement that may be terminated at any time by either party. City of Saratoga Springs will pay an annual license fee of $4,875 for each year of the term in advance. Therefore, I move to authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement with National Grid in the amount of $4,875 for the Spring Run Trail parking lot. And funding is in budget line number 8A3031494-54746, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. The second item on my agenda is a discussion and vote for the mayor to sign an agreement, Addendum 1, with CNA Environmental for laboratory services. At the March 6, 2018 City Council meeting, the original agreement for CNA Environmental for our water laboratory testing was approved for $18,280. The services they provide are the routine water testing required by New York State Department of Health to ensure municipal water supply is in compliance with DOH requirements. There are certain requirements for our testing, such as the lab being open 365 days per year, available 24 hours per day, and that they are located within a 10-mile radius of the treatment plant. This agreement addendum is to provide the additional testing services by CNA Environmental in the amount not to exceed $15,000. The total contract amount is $33,280. I move to authorize the mayor to sign an agreement, Addendum 1, with CNA Environmental for $15,000. Funding is in budget lines F363-8334-54708, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
Thank you. That concludes my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to public safety.
Thank you. The first item on my agenda is to amend Chapter 225 of the City Code, Vehicle and Traffic, with respect to time limit parking on Maple Avenue. This is a vote to amend Chapter 225 of the City Code to put in place 2-hour parking limits between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. on the following portion of Maple Avenue. On the west side of Maple Avenue, starting at 168 feet north of Lake Avenue and ending at Ellsworth Jones Place. On the east side of Maple Avenue, starting at 298 feet north of Lake Avenue and ending at Ellsworth Jones Place. On the east side of Maple Avenue, starting at 40 feet north of Ellsworth Jones Place and ending at 1,306 feet north of Ellsworth Jones Place. I move that the council amend Chapter 225 of the City Code, Vehicle and Traffic, with respect to the time limit parking on portions of Maple Avenue in the form that was distributed to the council with this agenda. This is a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? The matter passes.
The next item is an announcement. The first Citizens Police Advisory Board meeting will take place at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 27th at the Rec Center located at 15 Vanderbilt Avenue. I would also like to announce the appointment of John E. Carter, Jr. to the Citizens Police Advisory Board. Mr. Carter is currently chair of the Governor's Juvenile Justice Group. He is a past director of the New York State Supreme Court 3rd Department of the Appellate Division of Office of Attorneys for Children. He is an attorney and has received his Juris Doctorate from the Syracuse University College of Law. My third item is to set a public hearing. This public hearing will amend Chapter 118 of the City Code, Building Code Administration, with respect to the New York State requirements for inspection of parking structures. This is a public hearing to amend Chapter 118 of the City Code to include new language relating to parking structures mandated by New York State law. At the end of August, the Secretary of State issued a rule that required that the owners of all parking garages in the state must submit on their initial applications and renewal applications an engineer's report. This new language requires that the fire inspector receive documentation that an engineer has inspected the parking structure as part of that structure's initial and annual renewal inspections. So we'll need 5 minutes.
We can do 6:55 on the 4th of December.
That would be great. Thank you. And that is the end of my agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. On to supervisors. Supervisor Veach.
Thank you, Mayor. First and only item on my agenda is the 2019 budget update from Saratoga County. Our budget is a $314 million budget in the initial budget. Again, just to review, it lowers the tax rate from $2.29 per thousand to $2.26 per thousand. There's 3 steps in the budget process for Saratoga County, and the first step is going through the Law and Finance Committee for their first update to the budget. The main thing that they did at their meeting, which was held last week, was to make some changes and updates to personnel at the county, various titles and adding positions and that kind of thing, which had an approximately $1.9 million increase in the budget in personnel. I will say that it's probably been about 3 years, maybe more, since we've done any major personnel updates to that extent at Saratoga County, so it's probably about time that we did that. The other thing that they did or did not do at that meeting is we had 2 outside agency grant requests for Saratoga County. One was for Captain Youth and Family Services, and the other one was for Universal Preservation Hall. Those were both rejected by the Law and Finance Committee, so their requests were not added to the budget. Yesterday we had a workshop for all the supervisors. There were no further changes made to the budget at that point. So as of now, our budget is a $317 million budget. It does not change any factors in the budget regarding tax rate or anything else, because it just uses more of our unappropriated fund balance to fund those changes that were made at Law and Finance. The next step in the budget process is a public hearing, which is going to be scheduled for 4:30 p.m. On December 5th at the Board of Supervisors boardroom in Ballston Spa, and the budget vote will occur at 4:45 p.m. on December 12th. So that's it for my agenda, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you. Same to you. Supervisor Gaston?
I'll make things easy. I'm not going to repeat anything Supervisor Reach said about the budget, and I'm going to combine my items 1 and 3. With respect to the county budget, a reminder of the public hearing that's coming up. That's where you can also speak about any of the concerns of the agency grants. And I'm going to have a public forum on November 27th at 6 p.m. I guess all this is going to be happening at the same time for the budget here. And to discuss the budget in more plain language, because it's a little difficult to parse out when you look at it itself. And to discuss how it reflects the county priorities and what people have asked me with respect to what I'm doing at the county. It'll be at the Sussman Room in the library, and I also will have the budget up online at the county website and on my Facebook and website for anyone to review. My second item is a little bit timelier than we wanted to be. It looks like we're going to have a very cold Thanksgiving with temperatures very under zero, I believe, for some parts of it. At the same time, the Home Energy Assistance Program through New York State has opened up, and people with low incomes can request assistance on their heating throughout the season for emergency repairs or for heating equipment repair or replacement. It is based on your income and can be used for a variety of heating methods, including electricity, gas, oil, and pellets. And information can be found on the Saratoga County website or at mybenefits.ny.gov. And it's very useful for those especially who are elderly or disabled and may have difficulty repairing their own heating equipment as we reach these really cold temperatures. Thank you.
It is going to get very, very cold.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other business? Thank you all. We are adjourned.
Public Affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.